Okay, so welcome back to the swatching part. So I thought actually, if I have a minute, I'll try to use this pink soap, cleaning out the brush after I used these two, so the Acrylic Gouache, because they, from the paints that I've tried so far, they're the kind of most difficult to get rid of the paint or to clean the brush properly without taking it to the sink when I need to change colors. For like pure swatches, when you're obviously mixing colors together and you're creating art, it's a different thing, but when you want to have pure mixes of the color, then you do need a bit of, like, you know, precision there. So I'll feed back. I thought that would be quite neat to feed you back right here and let you know how that how I got on with it. But for now, let's start with the Designer Gouache by Winsor Newton. Got my water ready here. And I typically like to swatch it out with a filbert brush. I don't know, I like to use filbert brushes with gouache paints. So the first one here, we have got Linden Green. So I'm expecting this lovely chartreuse green type of a color. So let's see. And yes, it is exactly that. It's so pretty. There we go. Oh my god. Wow. If that's not pretty. It actually shows up a lot more yellow on the camera. It's to do with the lighting and the exposure and things like that. And look at that, the sun keeps changing. I'm trying to think what would be the best way of showing you. Anyway, let me swatch them out first, and then I will find a better kind of lighting situation to show you more true representation of the color. But yeah, it's like, it's this beautiful green rather than yellow. So when I look at it, I think more of a green yellow than yellow green, if that makes sense. So gorgeous color. Okay. Actually, it reminds me a lot on this one, and just for fun, I will do a little swatch with a small brush. Oh, this one is more green. Okay. Just to know how different they are. Yeah, so this one is even more green. Gorgeous color though. So this is the watercolor. Just give you an example here. Okay, let's carry on with the next one. So this one is raw Sienna. So if I'd ever paint my girls in Lederhosen, you know, the German beer fest, this would be the color to go for. Having said that, it's also a beautiful color for abstract art. It would go really well with sort of dark navy color palette and things like that. It's the ultimate contemporary color palette must have if you're into that sort of a thing. Beautiful. I mean, stunning. I think I'm developing a addiction for these colors, although I have to say I think I've got most of the colors now that I love, but I think as a treat I would just go back and get a few more colors here and there. But so far not a single color has underwhelmed or disappointed. Look at that, that's even more rich. So this is the gold ochre. Oh, they're just stunning, and this color together, the color palette, just looks so beautiful. Okay, let's switch up things a little. This is tongue-tied. Alizarin Crimson. So this is again for like lip color, blush, all that sort of a thing, and of course, you know, outfits. But immediately when I think about colors like this, wow, look at that. The quality of these paints. They're very close in terms of like high quality watercolors, but they have that beautiful opacity and strength and oomph of a gouache. So I think when it comes to gouache paints, Designer's Gouache by Winsor Newton is the best option, in my opinion. Okay, so these are these. Then let's switch out these two paints. I think I'll go with the lighter first. So this is the Pale Peach. So it's a hybrid paint of gouache and acrylic, and it dries matte. It's a very beautiful option to have, and I love both paints for different reasons. So you get different color variety in both brands. So these are by Holbein, but the finishing touches, or the finishing texture of it, is very, very different to your regular gouache. And also for that reason, you can see I'm struggling to wash the paint off completely, but because it's a light paint, I should be okay. So I think I'm more or less there now. But if it was a darker paint, it's usually, I still can see paint coming off. Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to get it off. So you'll see the difference now between this one, which is the raw Sienna, and then I'll go off and clean the brush. So raw Sienna and raw Sienna, so they're actually the same color name, but you can see they're different colors. So that will give me a nice variety in raw Siennas, and also you'll see the drying texture of it once it has dried. So I'm going to wash this brush now a little bit in water, and then take it to the sink now, wash it off with this pink soap and feed back. Okay, so in terms of smell, it smelled very much, or reminded me at least, of like marzipan scent, like a very, very strong artificial almond scent. You know, when you're baking and you're adding something like that, it's got that sort of a smell. I wouldn't say it's unpleasant. It was okay, actually. What else? It doesn't lather up as your regular soap would do, and it did a great job just washing off all of the paint like immediately. I just squeezed a little bit of the soap on my hand and ran the brush through, and literally was clean. It felt like it sort of conditions the bristles a little bit, like leaves them nice and sleek feeling. I'm not sure if that's just kind of my interpretation of what it's supposed to do it. So yeah, it says here, leaves no greasy feel. It's not like greasy when I say it feels sleek. It's sort of just like conditioned, you know. Let's just quickly read here. So brush cleaner, preserver and conditioner. So it cleans oils, acrylics and watercolor paints. Contains a conditioner, leaves no greasy feel. Contains no chlorides, alkalis, phosphates, solvents or alcohol, safe for use on fabric. So it seems to be a good one. I don't know. It's my first brush cleanser or cleaner ever, so I'm not a pro when it comes to those products. Don't have anything to compare with, but it did a good job, so I'm happy with it. Okay, so let's see now. Let's do the acrylic ink. I don't think there is a point for me to swatch the white because you're simply not going to see it very well. It would be good to maybe use it on top of some colors just to see what it looks like or how opaque it is. I could do that actually, but let me just swatch the Lemon Yellow by Rowney System 3. If you're new to these acrylic inks, the FW range is the artist grade, and this one is the student grade. And I think the difference basically is like maybe light fastness or like pigment quality, but in terms of colors they are beautiful as well. So I have quite a few from the System 3 that I really love, and actually I found that they differ slightly if you go for the same color in System 3 and FW. So might as well, if you fancy a color, get it in both just to see the difference. And the pigments here are PW6 and PY3. And let's swatch this color. Ah, beautiful. I already see that. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, let me use this brush here. Oh gosh, it's beautiful. It's this like super milky, super creamy. I want to see how light I can get it. That's the thing with the Rowney acrylic inks. If you actually go and read up on Jackson's in the description of the product, these are designed to be used as acrylic paint and as a watercolor, so you kind of can dilute them with water and they don't lose their permanence, and they still are permanent when you dilute them very much. They kind of become like this fine film of paint that merges onto the paper and will be permanent, won't move like watercolor if you wanted to go over, or gouache in fact. So again, acrylic gouache permanent, and then these are water soluble, the regular gouache. So in terms of pencils, I will swatch out these like normal, and then these I will swatch in a little lip shape so that we kind of get the idea for lip color. But obviously you can use these for floral, for botanical, any other color need that you have. So let's start with Luminous Lemon by Holbein. Ooh, okay, I didn't realize this is a neon. Wow. It's glowing off the page. I don't know what you can see on the camera, because usually these colors are terrible. When I say terrible, I mean like terrible to showcase on camera. They just don't, the camera doesn't pick up the color. Next one is Olive Yellow by Luminance Caran. Oh yes, beautiful, beautiful color. Gorgeous. Isn't it beautiful? I wonder what would happen if we'd layer both of those. So I'm just going to continue this color onto here. And then so these don't blend very well together. They're kind of starting to burnish now, having that waxy. If I show you, hopefully you can see. And this one is drying more, slightly more yellow than it kind of looked when I first put it on the paper. Very, very light change, but still it's a very, very pretty yellow color. And I'd imagine it'd be great for mixing with other colors as well. Okay, so before I start on the pencils, let me just try and mix, well, not mix, but get this yellow, or this white rather. And try to use it as paint and just see how opaque it is. So I'm going to go for a fine brush. Yeah, so it's super, super opaque. Okay, And I guess I could also layer it over the pencils as well, if I wanted to. So, that's our white. Guess I'll do over all of them, why not? Yes, that's really pretty. And let's do it over the System 3 as well. So there you go. So that's our white acrylic ink. So if I let it dry here without wiping it off, it will be like acrylic paint. It will dry permanently there. So keep that in mind. Okay, so here is Derwent Light Fast Strawberry. So you can see similar, but not as dark, and it's more kind of on a warmer color scale. Very beautiful. Both colors are super beautiful. And finally, Signal Red. Let's try this one out. So it feels like a cool toned red. It's quite strong. As a color, it's beautiful. And let me swatch out this red, which is Scarlet by Luminance. So Scarlet is slightly more darker. I don't know if it's easy to pick up on the camera, but it's darker, and it hasn't got the same finish. So these are a little bit, you can see, have that waxy gloss about them, and these ones look matte. So the Luminance and the Derwent, they don't have as much, especially the Luminance. They don't have that waxy gloss. But for a lip color, to me, that works really well, because I can just use one color, I don't need to blend much, and just pack it on. Very pretty. So I'm going to title them, and yeah, and I will show you the close-ups. Okay, the lighting is perfect, so we're good to have a look at these. And yeah, I am really happy with those colors. They're so cheerful, yet kind of mellow as well. So these are the mellow colors here, and then we have the cheerful kind of green yellows as a pop color, beautiful lip colors, and then you know, just the whole thing works quite well together, especially if you take the pinks out. This becomes such a cool palette for me, like with that color here, like this. Do you see what I mean? Isn't that beautiful? Anyway, so let's have a good look. So this color is a lot more, well, I'd say a touch greener than it comes off onto the screen. So it looks a little bit more yellow on the screen, so add a bit of green to it. This is just as a comparison, but sits very well together in this color palette as well. So we've got the Linden Green by Winsor Newton. So we've got all the gouache by Winsor Newton up to here. This is Magella Mission Gold Leaf Green. Now, Rose Sienna, beautiful. Quite different to the Rose Sienna on this end. So you can see this one is warmer. And then we have Gold Ochre, which is kind of similar color family, just more rich, I'd say. And Alizarin Crimson, just beautiful. There's not really much I can add to that, just really stable, beautiful colors. Then we have Holbein Acryla Gouache. Now, if I could show you, there's a slight, not on all of them, but there's a slight kind of, especially on the rose sienna and gold ochre, because I piled on quite a lot of paint and used very minimal water. There's a slight sheen to it, very, very marginal, hardly noticeable. But these are the mattest of the matte. So if you're after that, also, as I said before, these are permanent and these are water soluble. So if I would take a brush, a wet brush, and go over it, this would, you know, be reactivated, this paint, and this one is permanent, so it would stay where it was put. Pale peach, beautiful color, just super, super pretty. It has a very light peachy pink to it, and I think it doesn't come through exactly on the camera looking at it now. Yeah, it's a little bit peachier in actual fact. Here on the screen it looks like it's almost blending with the white of the paper, almost, but not quite, but it's not, it's peachier definitely. Then we have the Rowney System 3 acrylic ink in lemon yellow. It's definitely more yellow once it has dried. I was hoping for a little bit more green in there, but having said that, I don't want to have the same identical color in different mediums, so it's actually good to have a variety of the same or similar color, slightly you know, changing the tone of them. Then the Holbein Luminance Lemon. I'll be honest, I wasn't after this neon color. I think I ordered the wrong one. So I wanted like a greeny, yellowy type of color, similar to the polychromos, basically, slightly more maybe with an oomph. But I'll try to use this color. It's just, it won't translate very well on camera, so no use for it on videos, I think. And also it's hard to print or like scan these colors as well, so it's a bit of a sketchbook color, and even if I show you some of my work in the sketchbook, you won't see this color very well because you can see it sort of like glowing off the page rather than, but it's basically just think of your neon green markers, you know, or yellow, neon yellow markers, highlighters. That's exactly what it is, just in a pencil form. I don't know how they managed to get this in a pencil form. I'd imagine it's quite difficult. And then we have Luminance Olive Yellow, so that's a very pretty color, really happy with that. And then a bunch of Holbein pencils. So we've got the pink, let me just bring it up a bit closer, pink, strawberry, wine red, crimson, and signal red. And then on the top I compared them with some of the existing colors, and here we have Burgundy by Holbein, Derwent Light Fast Strawberry, and Luminance Scarlet. So, and the other thing, like I said, they have a bit of a, you can see, waxy kind of sheen to them, which the Luminance stay matte. So this is Luminance here and there, and they're completely matte. Alright, so that is it for today. I hope you found this color palette uplifting, and yeah, maybe certain colors will inspire you to create something in your sketchbooks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.